Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Renubenz. I hope you are doing great. Congratulations on reaching the final part of our Python object-oriented programming course. In the previous videos, we learned all the important OOP concepts like classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation, composition, and many more. Now it's time to use everything we have learned to build real-world projects. Today, we will build 4 beginner-friendly projects. These projects will help you understand how OOP is used in real application. So, let's get started. Our first project is the student management system. Imagine you are creating software for a school or college. The school needs a system to store student information. Instead of writing separate variables for every student, we create a student class. Each student object stores student ID, name, age, and course. This is a perfect example of using classes and objects. Inside the student class, we use the constructor. The constructor receives 4 values: student ID, name, age, and course. These values are stored using self. Next, we create the strmn method. Whenever we print a student object, Python automatically calls this method. Instead of showing a memory address, it displays the student's information in a readable format. Now, we create another class called Student Management System. This class manages all student records. We create an empty dictionary called students. The dictionary stores each student object using the student ID as the key. The addStudent method checks whether the student ID already exists. If it exists, Python shows a message saying the ID already exists. Otherwise, it adds the student to the dictionary. This prevents duplicate records. The displayStudent method loops through every student stored in the dictionary. If there are no students, it displays a message saying no students were found. Otherwise, it prints every student's details. The searchStudent method searches using the student ID. If the student exists, Python prints the student's information. Otherwise, it displays student not found. The updateStudent method changes the student's information. For example, if the course changes, we update only the course. The remaining information stays the same. Finally, the deleteStudent method removes the student from the dictionary. If the student ID doesn't exist, Python displays a message. This is exactly how school management software works. Whenever a new student joins, their details are added. When a student graduates, their record is removed. Now let's build a bank management system. This project uses encapsulation to protect important information. Each account stores account number, account holder name, balance, and transaction history. Notice that the balance is stored as a private variable. This prevents users from changing it directly. The constructor creates a new account. It stores the account number, holder name, opening balance, and creates a transaction history. The deposit method first checks whether the amount is greater than 0. If the amount is valid, Python increases the balance. It also saves the transaction in the history. This helps us keep track of every deposit. The withdraw method also performs validation. First, it checks whether the amount is greater than 0. Next, it checks whether enough balance is available. If there is not enough money, Python displays insufficient balance. Otherwise, the money is deducted and the transaction is saved. The displayBalance method simply prints the current balance. Instead of allowing users to access the balance directly, we provide a method. This follows the principle of encapsulation. The showTransacts method prints every transaction stored in the account. This helps users see all deposits and withdrawals. This is very similar to a mobile banking application. Whenever you deposit or withdraw money, the app updates your balance and saves the transaction history. Now let's create a library management system. A library needs to store information about books. Each book has book ID, title, author, and availability status. So first, we create a book class. The constructor stores the book details. Initially, every book is available. The str method prints the book information clearly. The library class manages all books. We use a dictionary to store book objects. The book ID is used as the key. The add book method adds a new book. If the book ID already exists, Python displays an error message. Otherwise, the new book is added. The display books method prints every book stored in the library. It also shows whether the book is available or borrowed. Users can search books using the title. Python checks every book. If a matching title is found, it displays the book. Otherwise, it prints a message saying no matching books were found. When a user borrows a book, Python first checks whether the book exists. Then, it checks whether the book is already borrowed. If everything is correct, the availability becomes false. When the book is returned, Python changes the availability back to true. This allows another user to borrow the same book. Every college library and public library uses a similar system. The software keeps track of every book and whether it is available. Our final project is the employee payroll system. This project demonstrates inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism. We create an abstract class called employee. Every employee must implement the calculate salary method. This ensures that all employee types calculate salary correctly. The full-time employee class inherits from employee. It stores monthly salary and bonus. The salary calculation simply adds the monthly salary and the bonus. The part-time employee class also inherits from employee. Instead of a monthly salary, it stores hourly rate and hours worked. The salary is calculated by multiplying the hourly rate by the number of hours worked. Finally, we loop through all employees. For each employee, Python displays employee ID, name, and salary. Even though both employees calculate salary differently, we call the same method. This is an example of polymorphism. Many companies have full-time and part-time employees. Both receive salaries, but the calculation method is different. OOP allows us to handle both employee types using the same interface. Congratulations! You have now completed the entire Python object-oriented programming course. Let's quickly review everything we learned. Introduction to OOP, classes and objects, constructors, self, instance variables, instance methods, class variables, class methods, static methods, encapsulation, public variables, protected variables, private variables, getters and setters, property decorators, single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance, soup, polymorphism, method overriding, duck typing, operator overloading, abstraction, magic methods, composition, aggregation, exception handling, file handling, student management system, bank management system, library management system, employee payroll system. Learning OOP is not just about watching videos. The best way to improve is by practicing. Try changing the code, add your own features, create your own classes, build small projects. The more projects you build, the more confident you will become. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Every programmer learns by fixing errors. Congratulations once again on completing the Complete Python Object-Oriented Programming course. I hope this course helped you understand OOP in a simple and practical way. Thank you for learning with Renubenz. If you found this course helpful, please support the channel by liking the videos, subscribing, and sharing them with your friends. If you want more tutorials on Python, data structures and algorithms, AI, web development, cybersecurity, and real-world coding projects, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. This is Renubenz, signing off. Keep learning, keep building, and keep coding.